110 miles per hour. But a beautiful Thursday night here in Clark County. Leading things off, Taylor Malvin, and the chopper over the head of the second baseman, Tyler Ellison. And a base hit to lead things off for Malvin and Ole Miss.
Nine stolen bases on the year for Malvin. Without a doubt, some wheels that Georgia's going to have to protect.
And Ole Miss coming in at 31-11. Overall tied for ninth currently in the SEC. And Jaden Pone trying to move her over. And the bunt goes foul, so she'll come back to the plate. Pone, the senior out of Hope Mills, North Carolina, her second season with this program, came over from Longwood after that transfer last year, led the club in batting average and does so again this season.
This is rolling in the circle, a lefty for them. It's seen quite a bit of innings. And talking to Tony Baldwin, head coach at Georgia, he said one thing: when this arm is on, she is untouchable.
And check swing there, and lines out to Williams, and one away. But going back to rolling in the circle, when she is on, what does she bring to the circle?
Well, she's got speed. That 63, like mid-60s, is pretty consistent for her. She spins the ball well up in the zone, can cut with a curve. The challenge right now for this staff, specifically with Rolling and Lily, the senior, two lefties, they're very similar. And I think that was an interesting perspective to hear Tony Baldwin talk about, was the fact that these two arms, they're two lefties who've seen a lot of innings for this staff, have to start differentiating themselves.
This one, towering fly ball going foul down the left field line from Aaliyah Binford. She'll go back to the plate. But how do you differentiate yourself when you've got two lefties who kind of throw very similar stuff?
It's tough, and both of them have seen over 100 innings. Randy Rolling coming in with 107 innings on the year. It is tough to pivot, right? Your identity, what you're good at throughout the season.
And that one batted down by the shortstop, and Binford is going to be saved by the bobble of Emily Digby at short. And so among the conversations that we honestly heard from both of the coaches, you've got to be able to limit errors and free passes, and here a makeable routine play for Digby.
Yeah.
Just couldn't handle it.
See how Digby gets caught back on her heels. There's no momentum moving through that ground ball. That should be an easy fielder's choice at second base, but she gets caught moving backwards.
And so now runners at first and second, Malvin at second, Binford at first, and Percy Yamas, the cleanup hitter, now standing in. Yamas, one of those bright spots for Jamie Traxel in her fifth season, because she's brought in some really talented youngsters into this program.
Such a calm and collected approach at the plate from the freshman in Yamas.
That one gets a piece of her, and she's going to go to first base after the hit by pitch. So that's going to quickly load the bases. And already the Rebels threatening here in the opening frame.
Well, and none other than Lexi Brady, the strong arm of this offense. 14 home runs on the season, and already we are seeing Georgia in a pickle. What have we talked about from the top of this broadcast? It's free passes, right? We've seen what was ruled a single for Binford, that shortstop play for Digby. To me, that play's got to be made. And then a hit by pitch loads the bases for the most dangerous bat for Ole Miss.
And so the infield for Georgia having a quick conference and conversation as everyone returns to their positions. And yes, Lexi Brady, she is her and has been that.
She is her.
The senior out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
This is a bat that's only continued to get hotter through this season. Didn't have a home run through the first 11 games. Well, 13 of those home runs came in the last 28.
So if you're rolling, you want to be careful to not leave anything out there tempting over meat of the plate, because Lexi Brady knows what to do with it, can get a hold of it. 14 home runs, as we've already mentioned, on the season. And now the pitch. And Weekly hits that one over to third base. The force out at second, but a run does score. And so Ole Miss is on the board, and credit Brady for a run batted in.
Well, and credit Rolling, right? The fact that she's able to cut a curveball across the plate, it challenges the hands of Lexi Brady. There could have been a lot more damage done there for Ole Miss. The fact that Rolling challenges the inner part of that strike zone against a bat like Lexi Brady. That's the lefty we're used to seeing in Rolling.
Mackenzie Pickens out of the metro Atlanta area. Again, one of the 3 freshmen you'll see for this Ole Miss team. And the second baseman, who was quickly settled into the college game, and a couple months ago was SEC Freshman of the Week. Certainly a bright future ahead for Pickens.
That's an off-speed low in the zone. Doesn't even give it a thought, the freshman Pickens. It's really cool to hear Jamie Traxel talk about this freshman, mature beyond her years, an incredible base runner. I've heard her say this quote multiple times. When it comes to Pickens, how she is in one thing is how she is in everything. It is how she lives her life. Nutrition, weight room. She said when the team goes get ice cream, not Pickens, she's skipping the ice cream.
And I love how disciplined she was at the plate to not swing at anything. Now her base on ball loads it once again for Ole Miss. Those free passes that you mentioned earlier, Aaron, at the start of this broadcast, already rearing its head. And so after that 64th walk of the season for Rolling, and that's indicative of what we've seen from this pitching staff. They've given up the most walks in conference.
You know, Coach Baldwin was very honest with us in our conversation with him coming into this weekend. We got a little temperature check. How you feeling? How's the team feeling? He said, well, despite the obvious, doing okay, but I'm frustrated, a little disappointed, and this team is doing a good job of continuing to manage themselves and take care of business, but we got to change some things. And one of the point of focus in our conversation was pitching. I mean, he talked a lot about pitching. There just has to be more of a competitive approach, an aggressive approach through the strike zone from every single arm on this staff.
Swing and miss there from Ashton Lansdale. That's something that Rolling likes to see. Lansdale, one of the newcomers to this program, transferred over from Cal a season ago. I mentioned just how important the closing weekends are, as this Ole Miss team is able to walk away with the win in that Florida series as a run walks home. And Lansdale is going to get credited with the RBI. But again, now a couple of walks along with a hit by pitch. And a 2-0 advantage early on for Ole Miss. That one collected by Digby, and that's gonna end the inning, but not before. It's the hour and some change from Athens. And one of the things that we have seen from Georgia offensively is that they've been able to hit the ball well. They've been able to be solid on on offense overall. Let's see how they respond here as a diving Ryan Starr can't get to it, and a leadoff base hit for Tyler Ellison.
Yeah, Tyler Ellison is just one of those well-earned position players. Hardly played her freshman season, was the most improved player from that freshman year, and has just flat out earned this leadoff position. A really stellar leadoff for this group, consistent, applies pressure at the plate, and finds her way on here early in this ballgame.
Well, here's Dallas Goodnight. You talk about the pressure she applies with her speed, and both she and Ellison had kind of traded off at that leadoff position at points during the season, but Ellison has solidified herself. And then the center fielder, Dallas Goodnight, who's just grown more and more confident, second team All-SEC a season ago. .331 batting average for the senior. Shows bunt and corners pinch in, waiting to see if that sacrifice can be made. And when you look at Wacheño, I mean, the scouting report on her is that obviously she can get it up there in the velo.
And an early candidate for National Freshman of the Year. You're going to see a lot from this arm. Hammers the zone early, often, tunnels her pitches really well. I think the thing that makes her such a threat is that she can throw a rise ball at 3 different levels. She'll climb the ladder, she'll challenge your eyes, but she makes that pitch look so sweet. And I can tell you, that's one of the toughest pitches to lay off of.
It's quite appetizing.
Oh man, it just looks so good.
But then what I also liked seeing on that scouting report, which makes her all the more difficult, is the changeup that she introduces as well.
Hey, he's out in the dirt there against Goodnight.
And Goodnight draws the walk, so first 2 batters aboard for the Bulldogs as they threaten here with Lindy Ray Davis coming up to bat.
It's only the 54th walk of the season for Wacheño. Mentioned the 159 strikeouts. She doesn't give up many free passes.
And Davis, the lefty, showing back, draws back. Just one of those mainstays in the lineup for the Georgia Bulldogs, and she is a Bulldog through and through.
Through and through. A lifer. I mean, she was recruited before those new rules had applied from the NCAA, committed the end of her 8th grade year, and she has stuck with Georgia through it all. COVID, roster changes, updates of a stadium. I mean, she is just steadfast.
But what you love about it is that she can enjoy some of the fruits of her labor, given the fact that we're seeing some beautiful new digs. She was able to be a part of that 2024 Super Regional team from a season ago, and now experiencing one of her best seasons, if not her best season, in a Bulldog uniform.
3-0 count here, and you're seeing Lexi Brady come out and just have a quick word with Wacheño.
Back-to-back 3-ball counts for the freshman. And so you've got to love that, right? A young arm in the circle, a very experienced veteran behind the dish receiving the pitches. And just a great sense by Brady to know when to have that quick conversation. 3-0 pitch to Davis, and it's in there for a strike. Davis was taken all the way. Davis thought that was ball 4. Instead, it's the second strike of the at-bat, Susan Eade says.
I think it clips the plate there. I wouldn't swing at it with a 3-1 count, but I do believe that Huachinho gets the call. Same pitch. And now Davis knows she has to protect it, right? Especially early in this ball game, the first inning, both of these arms trying to just understand where the strike zone is. What can I get away with? How can I clip the corners here, shade the edges? Offense trying to understand the strike zone as well.
And the walk to load the bases. Jaden Goodwin is coming up to the plate, so both teams having their opportunities here. And back-to-back walks given up by Huachinho. And now we see a visit to the circle by Nancy Evans, part of that new coaching staff for the Rebels this season. An Arizona legend, NCAA winningest pitcher.
3-time national champion at the University of Arizona. She pitched there from 94 to 98. You mentioned the entirely new staff at Ole Miss. I feel like that is the story for Jamie Traxel. She is just a magnet for newness, but has handled it so well. 3 brand new coaches on this staff. Aaron Earlywine, heck of a career. 11 seasons as the head coach at Mizzou. Now joins Ole Miss. Nancy Evans, as we just mentioned, and Bobby Buchanan, who is an offensive genius and a pitching coach.
Well, let's see what type of answer Huachinho comes out with after that discussion, because you've got Goodwin, who's got 8 home runs on the season, tied for team best with Sarah Gordon. And the junior brings the power, but also that batting average, best of her team as well. And that one gets a piece of her.
I don't know that she was happy about that.
Wait a minute. She's gonna come back because the home plate umpire said that hit the knob. Tony Baldwin is out to have a discussion about that. He doesn't believe it to be the case.
I actually think that this is potential for leaning into the strike zone. It was pretty clear to me, at least. We'll get a look on the replay that it hits the Evo shield of Jaden Goodwin.
So the blue crew is discussing it. And they do now award the base to Goodwin. It did not touch the knob after discussion. And another look at it here.
You were right. The discussion was on the knob. From this angle, we're kind of in a bird's eye view up above home plate. I thought it hit the Evo shield, but you're right, Tiff. I think that first was a call that it hit the knob, and they've overturned it to hit the hand. Jamie Traxel now coming out to have a word.
Ruling on the field is that the ball is a dead ball hit by pitch, runner take first base. Ole Miss is challenging the call on the field. This play is under further review.
So coaches have a couple of challenges, and obviously this is one of the reviewable calls. And so when looking at it, again, home plate umpire raises her hand and says, no, this was a hit on the knob, come back to first base.
Yep.
Home plate. But then after discussion, it changed. Let's get the final call.
After further review, the call on the field has been uphill, hit by pitch, runner takes first base. That's Ole Miss' first challenge of the game.
What a great look from our team there. You don't see that often, right? The initial call was that it was not a hit by pitch. Goodwin would have to come back to first. Blue crew has a quick discussion. They overturn it, and then it was challenged again and upheld. That was a lot to unravel.
Yeah, indeed. But how about Georgia splitting the lead in half now? And much like we saw in the top half of the inning, it's, again, free passes, a couple of walks to both Goodnight and Davis, and then the hit by pitch to Goodwin. Now that brings up Sarah Gordon to potentially tie or put Georgia in the lead with one swing.
You know, I've had a chance to call some Ole Miss softball this season, specifically with Huacheño in the circle. This is uncharacteristic for her. She typically is very efficient in the circle, manages the strike zone well, especially early in ball games. But it just feels like she hasn't quite found that rhythm, hasn't found the flow, struggling to settle in. And Georgia applying some pressure at the plate right now, making her labor.
Well, one of the conversations that we had with Coach Traxel was the fact that she needs to see this group play well on the road. They've done a great job playing at home, but in search of more road victories.
You know, it's this inside corner that she hasn't been able to get that call on. That arm side run has not been there. There's the off speed. We haven't seen that much so far. This is the pitch. Arm side, both on lefties and righties. I mean, that is just flirting with the river there, not getting the swing throughs, not getting a call, and I think that's a pitch that she's used to falling in her way.
Full count to Gordon. And gets a piece of that one, fouls it back.
A reminder, this is a freshman arm in the circle, and so I think early in ball games too, if you're not getting the calls that typically set you up to have pitchers' pitches to fall into your sequence and your rhythm, that can be a challenge. You've got to be able to pivot, especially early in this ball game, the first inning.
And leaves that rise ball up there. It's popped up in the infield, and it's 2 away, or 1 away. Freshman out of the state of California, was one of the top 10 recruits, including the extra inning softball. And right now has some work to do, as she's already thrown 25 pitches in the inning. Shortstop Emily Digby rather.
The nickname that Tony Baldwin gave Digby. He said, you know, we just call her tonic water. She goes good with everything. She does it all. She's just the jack of all trades.
That was probably the most spot on or classic kind of nickname that I think I've heard in some time.
He has a lot of nicknames for this crew too. We'll get into those. Yeah.
Swing and a miss. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. And you mentioned Tony Baldwin, and in his now 4th season at UGA, 40-plus wins in each of the last 3 seasons. Again, coming off a super regional appearance, but what he's had to do is kind of welcome in some new faces, right? I mean, you've got your All-Americans who have now graduated, so no more Sydney Kuma or Jaden Fields. As Digby pokes that one in the right field. And it's going to bring home another run, so the RBI sac fly for Digby, and we're tied at 2-all.
You got to imagine with Dallas Goodnight standing on third base that this was going to be a given. With 22 stolen bases on the year, the throw from Malvin just not even close, and on top of that, offline, gives up an extra 60 feet. These are the little details, Tiffany, that I think both of these teams just have to clean up. We mentioned the importance of this weekend for both of these squads, where we are in SEC play. Something's got to give.
Well, this one's coming right back our way from Marissa Miller as she fouls it back into the stands behind home plate. The junior out of Sewanee, Georgia. And a number of Georgia Peaches on this team.
I wonder how many T-ball teams in the state of Georgia are called the Georgia Peaches. It's got to be a lot. Too easy.
It is too easy. But you know what? If it sticks and it works, you just go with it, you know? Driven into left field. And out number 3 collected by 9-hole hitter Ryan Starr, leading things off here in the top of the second.
Does the Easter Bunny do anything special for your boys? Do they come visit the boys?
No, but we watched Peter Rabbit.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
This one softly hit, well fielded by the pitcher, Randy Rolling. And in time, as Esther White had to handle that one over at first base and does so. Well, Jamie Traxel trying to make it 5 straight appearances under her leadership as head coach to the NCAA tournament. Coming off a regional appearance a season ago, this is a group that's hungry to push further ahead under her leadership. And you think about Traxel, I mean, remember her in Oklahoma City when she was the head coach of Minnesota? And the success the Gophers had there, making their first Women's College World Series appearance in 2019.
Yeah, we mentioned the newness. She has been 4 different places in 6 years. She's got an entirely new coaching staff. This one between the wickets of Rolling. On top of that, she's got 8 transfers, 8 freshmen. We mentioned the brand new stadium. I mean, you would never know talking to her. She manages it so well.
That one ruled an infield single, as that was a tough one for the pitcher Rolling to handle the lefty. And so now she stands back in the circle and delivers the pitch to Taylor Malvin, who led things off. Or correction, Jaden Pone.
Well, this is a bat that's just been flat out on fire lately, hitting .583 through the month of April, 12 multi-hit games through SEC play.
And that one lined into the glove of Goodnight in center field. They tried to double up Malvin, but she slides back in safely.
I mean, even that swing, right, results in an out, but just the contact alone for Jaden Pone. She is seeing the ball so well at the plate. This is a curve ball that falls off a little bit of the table away from her. Throws the barrel at it, and a close shot at first base from Goodnight in center field, trying to collect the double play.
Here's Binford, who reached on an error, scored a run last inning. She and Lexi Brady tied for team lead in RBI, and that one golfed into center field. And Goodnight is there with the renovations done down there in Oxford.
Yeah, they did it in 3 or 4 different phases. I can remember last season talking to Jamie Traxel, and she said, while we may be playing on our home turf, we are practicing in a ton of different facilities, local parks, local JUCOs, other universities around, just because our digs right now are dug up.
You think about the daily setup and breakdown, pack up,
that was it.
From place to place. Folks not behind the stands just because of the work that was being done as Moore Williams gets into that one. Say bye-bye, baby. It's out of here.
You and I knew that off the bat, and I do believe Moore Williams knew it as well. That one hopped the indoor. And we'll get into that indoor here in just a moment. A brand new $38.5 million facility, and Moore Williams bounces one off the side of it. This is down Broadway. Wachenio flat out misses. This is a pitch that is too sweet to Williams. Take a look at this bounce. One hop and hits the side of the building. Wow, that's big.
4th home run of the season for the freshman of the state of Hawaii. And Lua Williams gives Georgia their first lead of the game. We talk about new. Everything is new around these digs. And they showed off that new light show too with the home run.
I can't wait till the sun goes down and we can start to see some more of those flashing lights. We told Sean here from Georgia, I said, we may bring those lights. That may be the energy Tiffany and I bring into the stadium. We'll have some light shows.
First baseman, Mr. White. 3 balls and no strikes to the freshman. And she was taken all the way. Back-to-back strikes there to work her way back into the count. Now drawn full. Wachenio prepares, delivers. And too far outside, ball 4, and the walk to Esther White.
You know, that is an at-bat with a Wachenio in the circle where you want to have some type of statement. Give us anything other than a free bag. Give us anything. Force your defense, allow your defense to have your back and make a play. You give up a leadoff home run and then you follow it up with a walk. It's just like a cardinal sin within our sport.
3 walks now given up by Wachenio as it's back to the top of the order with Tyler Ellison. Ellison, who singled in the bottom half of the first, came around to score a run. Foul back and onto the shed, right behind home plate and right on top of us.
This is a crazy, crazy smart young woman, both in the classroom and on the field. High IQ player, incredible pitch recognition at the plate. See there, immediately she clocks the changeup, doesn't even give it a wave, doesn't even double hitch the lower body.
The pitch. Swung on 2-1. Grounder handled by Mackenzie Pickens at second. And the runner moves over into scoring position as Ellison is retired.
Dallas Goodnight, who steps into the box right now, is one of the most dangerous athletes, I think, for Georgia. 22 stolen bases on the year. Tony Baldwin even admitted it as well. She's a freak athlete, just loves to train, loves to work.
And there tries to lay down the bunt, but she is retired. Does her job, though, advancing the runner 60 feet closer to home.
It's a great job by De Leon at third base, comes across the field. I mean, you know what you're facing in Goodnight. You know you have to be perfect. You know you have to field, throw, and catch exquisitely to capture that out, and Ole Miss does.
Lindy Ray Davis standing in now. She walked her first time up, the designated player. As we'll get an opportunity to talk with Ole Miss head coach Jamie Traxel on the other side.
Off speed just hasn't been established yet. We've seen her try try to establish this pitch. She hasn't gotten any swing throughs on it, a couple of foul balls, but we haven't seen it be called for a strike until now. I guess she heard me talking. But this is the pitch that she then just establishes low in the zone here, slightly out of the zone, comes back with it and gets the call.
The 1-2, and Davis right back up the middle and drives in a run. So a 4-2 ball game here, but the 2-out base hit by Lindy Ray Davis now extending the lead for Georgia.
Here's your grad senior stepping in big time. We mentioned the loyal and true of Lindy Ray Davis. From the left side, laces then right back up the middle, almost buzzes the tower of Huachinho. So much patience at the plate there.
Speed offering in for ball one. Jaden Goodwin, who was hit by the pitch last inning. Put up a run for Georgia. And then since then, the scoring party has continued for the home team. You think about the way that they were walked off a couple of times against Auburn. One by way of a number of walks, and then they got walked off. Another walk.
Already seen two back-to-back change-ups. Goodwin fouls that off. Are we starting to see maybe a change of approach here from Huachinho, peppering in some more off-speed?
These Georgia batters have made her work, and she's adjusted to the strike zone. A number of 3-ball counts we've seen, another one here. And the 4th walk awarded by Huachinho.
And the 5th free pass. There was a hit by pitch. Goodwin back in the 4th, 4 walks.
So now runners at first and second. Brady again talking with Huachinho. Nancy Evans making another trip to the circle. Well, while we have time, let's let you know that this week's SEC Network featured baseball matchup number 2, Arkansas, begins a 3-game series with Texas A&M tonight. Coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 7 Central from Von Walker Stadium in Fayetteville. You think on the softball side of things too, Texas A&M leading the league, currently in first place. And then you and I were just chuckling about Bree Ellis and the season that she's had thus far for the Razorbacks.
She is a monster. My goodness. 20-plus home run season. Got a chance to call some Arkansas ball last week. She hardly saw a strike all weekend. I wouldn't throw her one. Heck no.
When you think about a player like Miley Huachinho coming into the Southeastern Conference, this is your first collegiate season. She was instrumental in helping Ole Miss pick up series win against Arkansas.
Yeah, one of the 2 series victories that Ole Miss has comes against the Razorbacks, they've challenged quite a few series in the SEC, taken one of those from Tennessee. They had a 9-0 win against the Vols. Ended up not taking the series, but facing an arm like Pickens, shut him out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Carmen Pickens is nothing to play with.
Have you seen her in person yet?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
The 2-1 to Gordon. This one popped up. Does it remain in play? No, just over the first base dugout. And off the carom, a fan made a nice grab.
I think it's pretty clear. We've been talking about it as talent, play-by-play across the nation. This year is up for grabs. This season is up for grabs. It's been Oklahoma for the last 4 years pretty handedly. I don't know that that's the case this season.
I would agree there, just because when you think about the two teams that came over into the conference, they were in the Champ Series last year with the Sooners prevailing, but they add another wrinkle or dimension into an already stacked and tough SEC conference, and that one is laced over the head, misplayed by Lansdale in center field, and Sarah Gordon brings home 2 runs, extending the lead, and then after the throw, she advances to third. Dogs up 6-2.
This one is absolutely hammered by junior Sarah Gordon. Tony Baldwin says there is no greater confidence than earned confidence, and it comes off the bat of Gordon. 2 RBIs, heads up on the base paths. She sees the overthrow at home plate, grabs herself another 60 feet. You know, this was a bat that struggled in her sophomore season, didn't quite go the way that she wanted. She stayed on campus, Tiffany, all summer long to get into the best shape of her life. I think we are starting to see that come to fruition here in her junior year.
Well, Jamie Traxel has seen enough from her freshman hurler, so there's going to be a change in the circle. We'll tell you more about that for Ole Miss when we return.
Go calm and collected in the circle.
She looks to get one out to get out of the inning, as Wachenio responsible for the runner at third. And now Emily Digby stands in. Digby, who had that RBI sac fly to even things up last inning. And what a tremendous addition or just compliment that she is to this team. Cole Bass, first base all of last year, switched to shortstop. Anywhere they put her, she's had success, and she puts that one in the right place in the outfield and drives in another run. So right now the Dogs are rolling here in this second inning.
Notice the lower body here. She's able to slow down and extend the bat to this off-speed pitch. So much control with the lower half and with that barrel to stay on that timing. I mean, that is a really nice changeup from Bree Lopez, but met with an even better approach of Emily Digby.
So Digby, who you referred to as Tonic Water, thanks to
Tony Baldwin.
Tony Baldwin, giving her that nickname, and now Marissa Miller stands at the plate.
Also goes by Diggs. Diggs, Tonic Water, same thing.
So would you go Marissa Miller, Eminem?
Ooh, I like it. I was E-Money.
You were. And you are money, but you're also Groove Theory to me. All right, Miller takes that ball high for ball 3. And she's the 9th batter in this inning. So you go back to the 4 hits, 7 runs, 6 earned by Wachenio, along with the 4 walks in the 1 2/3 inning.
Well, Marissa Miller, who's standing in the box right now, is who Tony Baldwin identified as kind of the unsung hero. Doesn't get enough credit for what she does at the plate and behind the plate. We've seen this happen a couple times.
Yes. But sometimes you just have to play it out. And, you've got to sell it.
Hey,
Do you ever sell it?
You know, I think there is a salesmanship a little bit to this game. I think you're onto something.
That one is ball 4. So now we're back as they've batted around in the inning, and it's back to Mua Williams, who led things off with a solo shot. to give the Bulldogs a 3-2 lead, and since then, Georgia has taken off.
Establishing that off-speed pitch. That's a 50-mile-an-hour off-speed on the outer corner of that plate. Goes back to back with it. We've seen her lead off now 3 different batters with the off-speed. Again, if I'm seeing it that many times just in the less than a handful of batters that she faced, that's going to become part of my game plan. There's a pretty good shot. If I'm feeling confident in swinging at an off-speed pitch, I'm probably going to see it within my first 2 pitches.
And Moore Williams makes great contact once again. An oppo gapper to the G. And an RBI double for Moore Williams. So what an inning she's having here. First a solo shot, drove in a run, and then drives in another off the double, her 6th of the season.
So much patience. Sees 2 changeups, one looking, fouled one off, and then takes the curveball away. Doesn't overswing. That is veteran hitting right there.
20th run batted in for Williams this season. And Esther White sees that one again. And to your point, Aaron, starting off each batter the same way.
I would be sitting first pitch off speed. They've been strikes. They've been in the zone.
Again, this is a Georgia team that's in search of their first series win. How important would it be for them to try to walk away with a victory in game 1 to set themselves up for potential success for this series? Well, out ahead of that one, and Lopez ends the inning as she gets Esther White swinging. We'll talk with to get on base and put some good at-bats together to cut away at this 6-run deficit.
Llamas was one of the hit-by pitches in the first inning. She doesn't strike out much, only 5 on the year. Manages the zone so well. No sweat. This is one of those athletes, especially in a freshman, which is so impressive, that she is just in control. Very calm, very collected. She's the same all the time.
2-2 count for the sophomore, rolling in the circle, trying to retire Llamas on this pitch in the dirt.
Only 5 Ks for Llamas on the season through 42 games played. It's a heck of a freshman season.
Well, you think about just her first collegiate at-bat, right?
Yeah.
It was coming in against a ranked Clemson team at the start of the season. She pinch hits a 3-run homer. And all that is done is set the table for what has been a very good freshman campaign. And good plate discipline there, not given at all. So aboard with a couple of free passes. The hit by pitch you mentioned earlier, Aaron, and now base on ball.
You know, we can get caught up in power numbers and average and all of those things that jump off the page, but to me, looking at strikeout numbers, specifically at a freshman, like that speaks maturity to me. That you can stand in the box and hold your ground and trust your eye, trust your body, trust your patience. She's a tough out. That is so frustrating for pitchers. Already, specifically with rolling in the circle, that's struggled to find the strike zone. That's been the Achilles heel for Georgia all year long.
Well, out in front of that one is Lexi Brady. Brady, who has just been dynamic in her power numbers throughout her career. Closing in on a single season record for home runs already with 14, and on that wild pitch, it's Llamas who moves now into scoring position.
We've seen Miller a couple times behind the plate choose to almost clean pick, these bounced drop balls. It's actually a drop curve that is getting away from Miller instead of truly dropping the knees, trying to find a way to put your body in front of that pitch. You got a runner on. You got to be a wall.
Again, gets that one by Brady. Big cut there. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. That one high for ball 4. So back-to-back walks awarded for the Ole Miss batters with no outs here. And this is one way that Ole Miss can get back into this one. Take advantage of the free passes, try to move runners around and manufacture some runs as a trip to the circle from Chelsea Wilkinson.
You know, this to me should be an environment and an opportunity in this game for Rolling to be more fearless. You've got an 8-2 lead. You're early in this ball game. There's a lot of room and space and freedom to just go for it. Hammer the strike zone. Give your defense a chance. There's nothing that they can do for you to defend a walk. They've given you a lead, a 6-run lead now. Throw through the zone. Force Ole Miss to do something with it.
Well, let's see if that conference fires up Rolling. As Mackenzie Pickens settles in. Rolling wanted that one, and it was framed and held there for a while by Miller behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. One thing we have seen, a tight strike zone, but very consistent from Susan Eads. Smack foul and out of play. Go back to just the way this Ole Miss group has battled throughout their last couple of series against South Carolina and Florida. Ranked opponents, as that one passed the glove of Tyler Ellison at second base. And so now the base is loaded after the single from Mackenzie Pickens. And what Jamie Traxel has seen from her group throughout is that fight, is that grit and determination. And they've got a great opportunity here with the bases juiced and no outs in the top third.
As she mentioned, the challenge specifically for this squad in prepping for Georgia and coming in to Athens is that they had to come out excited. They have not played their best on the road. This team needed to show up and show out. They've been caught a little bit on their heels early, but a lot of ball game left and a lot of weekend left.
Good cut there by Lansdale. Well, this is a place where Georgia has found success in protecting their home field. An 8th swing and a miss for Rolling. And so moving it past the batters here. Now ahead the count, 1-2 to Lansdale. And Lansdale makes contact into center field, deep, and it's out! A grand slam for Lansdale. Or correction, there is no ruling on the field. It looked like it went over
It did.
the
It looked
padding out in center field.
It looked like it hit the top of the padding, but there was zero sense of urgency from Goodnight in center field.
And there appears to be some confusion. Jamie Traxel coming out onto the field to say, hey, what is the call here? Because the runners came around no problem. Lansdale thought it was gone too.
I also never saw the home run twirl from any of the umpires on the field. Aaron Earlywine at third base, you could see he was waving arms. Lexi Brady full speed ahead. They're really the only one in a home run trot was Lansdale.
And Traxel's going to use her second review here.
Ruling on the field as the ball hit the top of the wall, remained in play. Batter runner at third base. Ole Miss is challenging the call on the field, and it was a home run. Plays under further review.
I mean, Ashton Lansdale, who hit that ball, was in a full home run trot rounding around the bases. Aaron Earlywine was actually the one in the third base coaching box waving runners because from what he saw, and I think you and I saw the same thing, there was no home run call officially on the field. He was playing it safe. This is the only angle per our crew that they have. You can see it hits the top of that wall and comes back in. You know, Tiffany, I think too, the other thing that kind of threw everyone for a loop again was that Dallas Goodnight in center field, there was zero sense of urgency to get that ball back into her infield. She assumed that it was home run.
So if it hits the top and comes back into play, it's still a playable ball.
The only thing that would potentially change that is if it hit something just behind that fence and popped back into play. I don't know that there's enough per that footage to overturn the call on the field, which is that this would be a triple.
Now there are stands right back there, so there is a metal portion as well. But again, like you said, Aaron, that's really tough to determine from the angle that we have, and you have to have irrefutable evidence there.
Should we give a mic out to those fans in center field? Should they weigh in here on this call?
Well, they're home fans, so they're going to definitely say.
But I can understand right now Jamie Traxel fighting for that run, down 6 runs coming into this inning. That run has some meaning.
After further review, the ball hit the top of the wall, hit a spectator, and then came back into play. Call on the field's being changed to a home run. Run scores.
Oh, wow. The Land Shark comes into home plate, and a great challenge by Jamie Traxel. After review, it stands as a home run, but a grand salami at that.
Let's take another look here.
Does it hit the leg of the fan right there and then bounce back into play? I'm assuming that's what they are speaking of.
Let's check the leg. Where's she at? Let's check the leg. What a change.
Wow.
I got to tell you, from our vantage point, the naked eye, that looked to be, I believe, a triple. I don't know. That's above our pay grade.
It is above the pay grade, for sure, for me, too. I mean, 3rd home run of the season. Congratulations to Ashton Lansdale. More importantly, this is an Ole Miss team. You heard their coach talk about how they respond and how they fight. And a couple of free passes. The single loaded the bases for Lansdale. And the grand slam draws them within 2 and no outs in this inning.
This has been, again, the Achilles heel for Georgia is just their free passes. Giving up 2 walks. Let's say Mackenzie Pickens does indeed get that single, the 3rd batter that Rolling faces. That's only a 2-run shot instead of 4.
Angelina DeLeon swings through that one. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The senior out of Valley Springs, California, who's been a 4-year dependable player, and lifts this one high into left field. And the first inning, or out of the inning, collected by Goodwin.
It's hard to believe that not too long ago we didn't even have the option to go to a replay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that was the world that we lived in. And now we rarely even do a game where there's not at least 1 to 2 replays that go to review.
Well, the SEC was ahead of the curve in adopting video replay, and so they introduced it. And multiple conferences have come along. You've seen it at the Women's College World Series as well. Nice grab by the fan right in front of us, or next to us. But you want to get it right ultimately.
You do.
And so there is an appreciation for the technology and taking the time
Well, and
to
I
get the
think
reviews.
the fear was that for a long time was that it would elongate our game, that it would delay the pace of our game. We've obviously seen then the application of the action clock, which has assisted in that.
And a strikeout swinging for Ryan Starr, going up and chasing, and that's much needed for Randy Rowland.
First strikeout of the day for Rowling. This lefty's still trying to settle in 3 innings.
We get an opportunity to talk with Tony Baldwin, head coach from Georgia, at the conclusion of this inning on the other side of the break, as Taylor Malvin now with 3 singles on the day, and she's done her job in the leadoff spot. The 2-out base hit. And among the conversations that you and I had with Coach Baldwin earlier, hey, look, pitching and defense was on par early, and the hitting didn't necessarily handle its side of things. But now they're swinging the ball exceptionally well, and he feels like, hey, if we can get things clicking all together at the same time, where they put up 8 runs, but they can also keep people off the board and off base.
Yeah, it's
They've got a
just
shot.
one of those things. Your offense can put up all the runs that they possibly can, but if the pitching can't hold the fort down, I mean, we're kind of seeing it here, right? The free passes, the 2 walks that started this inning, gives up and gives way for the base hit and the home run, and now this is only a 2-run ball game.
But again, we go back to just the way this Georgia group battled with Auburn last weekend, and battling here against Ole Miss. They hang tight to a 2-run lead. We'll talk to open up this series against Ole Miss, and how can they hang on to this 2-run lead and potentially extend it to try to take game 1. Tyler Ellison lifts this one into the air in the shallow center field, and the second baseman Pickens gets out number 1. So Bree Lopez, who makes a clean inning to start things off after coming in relief for Miley Wachenio in the last frame, retires Ellison and now faces off against Dallas Goodnight. Goodnight, the senior out of Dacula, Georgia, again in the Atlanta area, began her career in Alabama, and then came over to Georgia, second team All-SEC a season ago, leading the way in stolen bases for the Bulldogs. And the player that you highlighted in the open, Aaron, is one of those dangerous players in this UGA lineup.
22 stolen bases. Works on her speed virtually every single day. Came into this program running about 18 miles per hour. Coach Tony Baldwin told us last week she topped out at about 21 mile an hour top speed. That is a freak athlete.
And we've seen her swing away more this year. She can slap, but also she's been swinging away at it pretty consistently. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes to the senior. And good job swinging away, opposite field base hit rather, with 2 strikes. And Dallas Goodnight is aboard safely.
I'm just picturing, like, I can conceptually visualize my car going 21 miles an hour, and the fact that she can run at that speed is just wild.
Well, we can see some of that engine revving up on the base pass, because we talked about 22 stolen bases. You've got to think that she's going to be taking off Lindy Ray Davis now at the plate at an RBI single, but Goodnight could show off those wheels right here. And does so. Brady's tested, but Goodnight is in safely. 23rd stolen base of the season.
I mean, just not even close. It's just the quickness of the leadoff as well as the speed from 60 feet. It's all of it combined. Her sense of urgency is next level.
Well, out in front of that one is Davis, and she's retired. So 2 out, runner in scoring position as Lindy Ray Davis couldn't advance her teammate any further.
Bree Lopez settling in with that off-speed. Remember talking to Jamie Traxel, who was excited for Bree Lopez to step out there with a fresh inning to start.
And the speed again of Goodnight as that one is gobbled up in the dirt by Brady. So now Goodnight 60 feet closer, and that's something that Bree Lopez has got to keep an eye on.
I mean, she never even hesitated. Never hesitated. When you compare high IQ with speed on the base paths, you can't even defend it.
Jaden Goodwin, the lefty who sends this one out of play. Did a nice job this season just with the way that she can cover all parts of the plate and zone. Lopez readies, delivers. And lefty v lefty matchup, and Goodwin trots down the first for the walk. Her 2nd walk of the game.
Hit by pitch and 2 walks.
Now you bring up Sarah Gordon, who is 2 for 2 today, had that RBI double last inning. An uncontested stolen base for Goodwin as she moves into scoring position now. And we talked about the way Gordon kind of made that adjustment and understanding that she's been swinging the bat really well. A trip to the circle for the Rebels, but Gordon pulled up that film from how she was hitting best, and that was back in her travel ball days, and so now she's got a grand opportunity to try to extend this lead here with a couple runners on and 2 outs.
It was interesting, Sarah Gordon, making some swing changes this season, went back to some of her most natural movement patterns, and Tony Baldwin embracing it, said they watched film again back from when she swung in travel ball and tried to just tap back into her natural movements. And it's made a difference for her this year.
Well, just a reminder that our featured softball matchup right here on the SEC Network, it's 7th-ranked Florida hosting Alabama, number 17 Crimson Tide, traveling down to KDC Show Presley Stadium in Gainesville in the second game of their 3-game series. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern. That should be a great one indeed. About Keegan Rothrock and Jocelyn Erickson and all the firepower that Tim Walton's crew has down there in Gainesville, but Patrick Murphy also has unleashed his players this season. Sarah Gordon gets a piece of that one and remains alive. UGA is 4 for 6 with 2 outs tonight. Another opportunity here for the Bulldogs. The 1-2 pitch to Gordon. Did she commit? They say no.
It was close. Ooh, about as close as it gets. It's a good hole. It's got to have some wrist power there.
Great pitch there by Bree Lopez as Gordon was frozen, gets out of the jam unscathed. It's still a 2 top ball.
Pretty incredible to see.
Something that they're really proud of. And then when you think about Davis Diamond and when they redid their stadium and they were hosting an SEC tournament, now Georgia finds themselves as the latest benefactor of new construction, new facilities. They're hosting the SEC tournament this season, but all around, as you mentioned, it just speaks to the investment that athletic programs are having in women's sports.
Yeah, Tony Baldwin went into great detail with us, just sharing a lot of love for his administration, the build-out team, the design team. I mean, they skipped nothing. They cut 0 corners. Every single detail of this place was thought of. The lighting, the really, to me, the efficiency of this layout, right? They've got the weight room, they've got the recovery room, they've got the indoor facility. They've got it all. It's all right here. Tony Baldwin said it's made his schedules more efficient, practice times more efficient. Just the way that this program operates has gotten a complete revamp for the better because of these new facilities.
And something to be incredibly proud of.
Yeah.
I mean, and when you're bringing in recruits and potential donors and such as Aaliyah Binford with a walk to lead it off here in the top of the 4th for Ole Miss, that only helps sell your program all the more and gear other people to get their pockets and wallets ready to give or want to be a part of what they're doing here.
I think it's tough right now for a lot of programs that are wanting to generate the money and fundraise the money to update their facilities and continue to improve their facilities. Well, you also got an uphill battle right now with the arms race of NIL, right? Like there is so much to juggle here, especially for these Power 5 programs.
Going up and getting that one was Percy Yamas, and I mean, she went high in the zone.
Nice catch, center field.
And a home run, and things are even at 8 apiece. So you blink your eyes, and after a quick start, Ole Miss surrendered 6 runs back in that second inning, but they have gained them right back off of big swings, and Percy Yamas, the latest.
This was a no-doubter, elevated up in the zone, a rise ball that was hung letter high in the absolute blast zone for Percy Yamas. Let's see if you can see it here. There was a kiddo in center field that got a heck of a trophy. Look at that catch. Look at that catch.
And that's going to run Randy Rolling out of the circle for the Bulldogs. We'll tell you about the new pitcher when we come back. We're from Yamas to tie up the ball game, and the first batter she faces is Lexi Brady inside for strike one. See there, 73 miles per hour on the radar gun.
It almost feels at times where she throws so hard that it's through her speed, right? There's almost so much gas in the tank that she throws through her movement, through her location. Got to be a balance of both. Man, what a ball game this has been, right? The back-and-back approach, both of these teams at the plate chipping away. Ole Miss starting to have a little bit more life and response at the plate. You know, talking to Coach Baldwin before this weekend, we had asked him, you know, what do you expect to see in preparing for Ole Miss? What is this team going to bring into Athens? He said, honestly, you know, this squad, what Ole Miss has done throughout their season, what we've done throughout our season, the importance of this weekend, it's going to come down to who plays better that day. Well, it's pretty neck and neck right now.
And Lexi Brady meets that power. Good jump by Dallas. Good night. Gets a beat on the ball in the outfield and one away.
If there is anyone else playing in center field, that is at minimum a single in the gap. I mean, I'm just like looking at the ground that Dallas Goodnight can cover in the outfield. She has got to be one of the better, if not top 5 center fielders in the nation.
Pickens at the plate. The pitch.
Yeah, this too being the challenge for Howard. You saw it there with Lexi Brady, who is a very aggressive hack through the zone. If you're just hard speed through the zone, it's a matter of time before a bat runs into it. We've seen her just all hard over the plate, struggling to find that strike zone, but it is 70 miles an hour dancing around that speed now through 9 pitches. We really haven't seen any change of pace from Destin Howard.
So the walk to Mackenzie Pickens and the all gas, no brakes from Howard. Well, tomorrow morning we'll have the SEC Women's Golf Championship from the Pelican Golf Club in Bel Air, Florida. The final 2 teams will square off a match play format to determine the title once again. That's over on the SEC Network right here at 10 a.m. Eastern. That's when our coverage begins. Mississippi State, defending champions, BT Dub. Ashton Lansdale, who started at FIU and is really pretty much a newcomer to the sport of softball. Played a season of baseball at Georgia Highlands College, the first female to play baseball on the JUCO level. Part of the women's national team, USA Baseball national team, along with teammate Jamie McKay. Go back to just last week in the series, had that pinch hit home run, had a grand slam here today, and A game-saving catch against Florida. So again, the additions for Jamie Traxel this season, number of newcomers and new faces. It's been a mixture of kind of those transfers, freshmen, and veterans.
Yeah, beyond just the play on the field for Lansdale, it's really the type of teammate she is, just incredibly engaged in this game. Coach Traxel said even when she's not physically on the field, just even in the dugout, the way that she just maneuvers with this group is so impactful. It means a lot. She weaves herself into the fabric of this squad in every aspect.
And have you noticed anything different with players who started out or played baseball for much of their career and how they come in as a player over to softball?
Yeah, there's definitely a style. There's a flair to it that I definitely pick up on. I gravitate towards it. There's a swagger to the way that I think they approach the game that I really like to watch. I'm kind of mesmerized by it. You definitely see that in Lansdale too. Has a little bit of that Clydesdale front leg. She kind of kicks up that front leg, takes a big kick and turn into the ball.
Pops this one behind the third base dugout. Already, what a great day she's had. A season high in terms of runs batted in for a single game. 5 tonight. Grand slam, and then walked in a run as well. And Lansdale struck out looking. Delayed call there, the throw down to second to try to get Pickens, and Pickens is safe in scoring position with 2 outs.
That ball's just way too close to take, and I think Lansdale knew it. I mean, that does. It clips the outer part of the corner. I'm not going to leave that in the hands of an umpire. It does give way for a stolen base for Mackenzie Pickens.
So some discussion with Susan Eads, Eddie Hall, and Matt Dial.
Yeah, trying to understand potentially what the discussion is here. I'm not sure if they're looking at potentially Pickens leaving early at first base. Or this could be a batter interference. Lansdale crossing home plate.
Ruling on the field that there was no interference by the retired batter on the throw to second base. Georgia is challenging the call for interference. This plays under further review.
That is it. So Lansdale goes down looking. And the challenge right now for Tony Baldwin is that she walked in front of the throw for Miller behind the plate.
And indeed, obviously she's got to cross the plate, but she did kind of slow up there. And why that's critical here is if Tony Baldwin is successful with this challenge, it would be the 3rd out of the inning.
After further review, the call on the field is being upheld. There is no interference. We'll be playing with 2 outs and a runner on second. That is Georgia's first challenge.
So Baldwin spins a challenge, unsuccessful in his first attempt. He's got 1 remaining. Angelina DeLeon. She's at 1 low for ball 1. DeLeon, who's 0 for 2 so far in this one. foul.
Again, we're 21 pitches in. We have just seen straight up heat from Howard, 72 miles an hour there. The rhythm in which she moves as well, not only just the pace of the ball, but how quickly and urgent she is in her windup can be a little bit of a timing challenge potentially for Ole Miss at the plate, but if you can barrel up a ball thrown at this speed, it's going to go.
DeLeon, who has a trio of home runs on the season. The idea here is try to regain the lead or extend the inning if possible. Remember, it was Ole Miss who jumped out with 2 runs in the top of the first inning. Georgia answered right back with 2 of their own and then had that 8-2 lead until the Rebels came roaring back. Patience at the plate. And they've put together a couple of innings, and now the walk here from Howard, and Ryan Starr is going to see a pinch hitter come in for her, as Rachel Connors will step in as the pinch hitter. First year out of Chandler, Arizona. Connors, who Coach Traxel says has done a nice job coming in situations, 3 for 10 on the season at the plate.
It's only her 11th at-bat of the year. I'll tell you, if I'm coming off the bench right now for Ole Miss, I'm going to be patient at the plate. The amount of walks just tonight.
Instead, the grounder over to Ellison and gets the force out at second base. So a couple runners left on, but nothing pushed to a concern coming in. How would each team limit free passes? You saw that graphic there, combined 13 walks between these 2 pitching staffs. Bottom 4 as Bree Lopez will face off against 6, 7, and 8 for the Bulldogs. Starting with Emily Digby.
We're still seeing that same kind of course of action from Lopez in the circle. At least the first or second pitch is an off speed. That's a layup for Georgia. Take a risk on your game plan here. Can you trust your timing? If you really can buy into that window of timing, you're going to see one of those pitches, and it's on a tee for you. It's right there.
Digby over to first base, handled by Yamas, and 1 down.
I don't have the numbers to back it up, but I do remember Tony Baldwin saying, you know, if I remember correctly, I think we are like leading the SEC in the most change-ups thrown. This team, Georgia, has seen more change-ups than any other team in the SEC. I'm going to take his word for it.
I remember him saying that too, Aaron, so you had your listening ears on for sure.
He felt confident in it. He goes, we've done pretty well against the off-speed pitches.
And do you think it's only a matter of time? Lopez was inserted into the lineup against Digby back in the second inning. Do you think now the second time around you'll see some adjustments made by the batters?
I mean, that would be the hope, right? I mean, it's not that the pitches aren't there. They're there for the taking. She's dancing between a 64-mile-an-hour low-rise ball and a 50-mile-an-hour off-speed, and at least 6 of the 9 batters, at least in my count, have seen off-speed pitches in the first 2.
We'll see what Lopez comes back with. And count 3-1. Strike to Marissa Miller. Miller, the catcher behind the dish, as you mentioned, the unheralded hero, and doesn't get all the pub that she deserves. But there, what a great grab in the outfield by Jaden Pone, diving out and timing it perfectly as Pone grabs a base hit from Marissa Miller. And you can appreciate that, Aaron Miller, as a former outfielder yourself. You like to lay out like that?
Oh, you live for these superwoman moments. Timed it just perfectly.
Hey, get one.
I mean, without that grab, that's at least a double off the wall.
We see Mua Williams trying to time up that off-speed understanding, so she got that piece of communication and data over. And what day she's had or night she's had so far, with 2 RBI, a solo home run, and brought in a run off a double.
There's another changeup there. I mean, 2 back-to-back. If it were me, that would be my game plan. But I am up here in the booth. I'm not down there on the dirt.
You had some very successful playing days, my friend.
3 of them. Back to back to back. I'll tell you, change-ups are one of those, if you can trust it and you've got a plan and you see the pattern, it's a no-brainer. But you can't be sitting on the fence with it. You got to buy in. 4 change-ups in a row. And if I'm Mua Williams, 2 for 2 night, home run and a double, probably can anticipate I'm going to get a heavy dose of that off speed.
Let's see what Lopez offers. Going outside.
Wild.
Fun battle, but if you're Lopez and it's been working and you've been effective with it,
why change? Yeah,
don't fix it.
That's it.
And gets Mua Williams to ground out, and a 1-2-3 inning for Lopez. That is
incredible.
a huge deal. And a credit to that program. And again, the job that Trisha Ford has done with that group at College Station. So the walk to Malvin, who's been on base every time she's been up at the plate, and now Jaden Pone, who is in search of her first hit of the game, stands in. And the lefty, who you mentioned, Aaron, has just been red hot for the month of April. But so far, the pitchers for Georgia have held Pone quiet in this game.
Both of these teams offensively have had to work a little bit in overdrive just to make up for this in the pitching circle. I mean, we talked a lot at the top of this broadcast about Georgia needing to stay in the strike zone, but Ole Miss has struggled just as much in the circle as well, and it does feel like both of these teams offensively have had to really extend themselves at the plate to cover some ground to support their pitchers.
Quick leash for Tony Baldwin as he pulls Destin Howard, makes a change. And so we'll tell you more about Rachel Gibson when we come back. They call on the senior, Rachel Gibson, to come in relief at a tie ball game. She inherits 2 runners aboard and gets ready to go to face off against Aaliyah Binford. So here, top 5, Rachel Gibson comes in, provides a slightly different look. We saw a lot of heat thrown from Destin Howard. And into the outfield, a base hit by Aaliyah Binford. And after the throw, heads up base running. And taking the lead is Ole Miss.
It was interesting. Taylor Malvin almost put on the brakes, a little bit of hesitation. I don't know if she missed the cue, the green light from Aaron Earlywine standing in the third base batter's box. But it is the bobble at second base that allows her to grab home. It's the little things. That has just been the bane of both of these teams' existence this evening, truly. It has been the tiny miscues, the inability to take care of the strike zone in the circle.
Swung on by Yamis. The throw over to first, not clean. And so Yamis beats it out. And again, bases loaded here for Ole Miss with no outs. Top 5.
Rachel Gibson stepping in and immediately getting challenged. Jaden Pone putting the ball hard in play up the middle of the field. I mean, this is a senior arm that has had a lot of growth over her career. The team really depends on her. And to your point, you mentioned the difference that she brings from what we saw in Destin Howard, who's all gas, no brakes, is that Rachel Gibson has an incredibly nasty off-speed pitch. I mean, you'll see her at times throw it 6 times back to back. We've seen that with Bree Lopez on the other side of the ball for Ole Miss. But, man, quick pressure here from Ole Miss, and Rachel Gibson hasn't even had the ability just to settle in and establish her stuff.
Tough position indeed, and Lexi Brady is up at the plate.
The off speed at 50, so you're going to see this spinny pitch on the outside corner of the plate there against Yamis. She's got an even slower pitch. She's got an off speed, a true changeup in the 40s.
And Lexi Brady gets a hold of that one. It's out of here. Second grand salami of this game for the Ole Miss Rebels. This time coming off the bat of Lexi Brady, their home run leader.
It was a matter of time before Lexi Brady was going to get a hold of one. Just the aggressiveness, the power. Look at the lower body. The way that she generates force through turning that back hip. It is unlike anything. 15 home runs on the season. She is now tied for that record.
One more, and she breaks that. And Dee. And what a change of events. Georgia has an 8-2 lead as this one smacked in the center field, and that's the first out of the inning, collected by Dallas Goodnight. Pickens retired. But an 8-2 lead for Georgia after 2. And the third, fourth, and fifth frames we've seen Ole Miss put up 11 runs. and they still feel like they have some work to do.
Yeah, it still feels like there's gas in the tank. Where do you go if you're Georgia right now from a pitching standpoint? Struggling to find the strike zone, and then you bring in your senior leader, Rachel Gibson, who is, I mean, it just appears like Ole Miss had a plan for this arm immediately. It doesn't even feel like she's been able to just catch her breath since stepping on the rubber.
Well, one of the things that Tony Baldwin talked about coming in is this is an Ole Miss team that has shown a ton of fight. They are certainly hungry, and they've been hitting the ball and playing well, competitive for sure in games. They're searching for their first series win in the month of April, as Georgia is looking for their first of the season.
There is action in the bullpen. That is Ellie Trout for Georgia. So could we potentially see yet another arm in the circle for the Bulldogs? I mean, this is game one. This is game one.
Yeah.
We still got a whole weekend of ball ahead of us.
We have tomorrow's game, which also starts at 6 Eastern. Game 3 will be right back here on the SEC Network at noon. But Aaron, it's the storyline that you continue to hear us talk about, that the coaches are well aware of on both staffs, but especially for Georgia. 10 walks given up tonight by this Georgia pitching staff.
It is really hard to win ball games in general in the SEC. This is a gauntlet of a conference. You make your job doubly as hard when you are handing 10 bases on a silver platter to a squad. I don't care who it is. I mean, it is hard to win ball games when you are consistently awarding free bases. And not making excuses here either, because Ole Miss has been doing it all night long as well.
Georgia's given up a walk the most walks in SEC play, as Lansdale steals second base. And now the 2-2 to DeLeon. And it's fouled back and out of play. You had such an accurate description of Rachel Gibson coming into this game, inheriting base runners, trying to get out the inning. It's like, can I breathe for a second? It's been tough to catch your breath, but that's a much needed second out there as a nice routine play by Emily Digby at short.
Yeah, this is an arm for Georgia and Rachel Gibson that has a lot of leadership and knows how to play under pressure, has all the tools in the tool belt, mixes speed so incredibly well, but just hasn't even had the chance to really set herself up to show it off.
And that ends the inning, but not before some more fire. Running out of chances. Esther White can start things off, the 9-hole hitter for the Bulldogs, and try to get on base. If you look at the way Georgia's been able to attack, they jumped on the pitcher to start the game in Riley Wancheño. Brie Lopez has come in and kind of helped to settle things down. What differently do they need to do to try to have some success as she's held them to 2 scoreless innings?
You know, I think, honestly, Georgia has done a pretty darn good job at the plate, not chasing balls out of the zone. I think Brie Lopez has just gotten better the longer that she's been in this circle. I don't know that it's anything that Georgia is doing or not doing at the plate. I just think Bree Lopez has had a good approach. Had a 1-2-3 inning in the fourth. Had a couple Ks back in the third, and honestly, just thinking back to the conversation that we had with Jamie Traxel in the third, she said, I want to see Bree Lopez start an inning herself. She came in and inherited kind of a little bit of a pressure situation, but since then, third and the fourth has looked really good. She threw 6 change-ups in a row to Brew Williams. Woof.
Full count, and Esther White with a leadoff walk here in the bottom of the 5th.
I mean, the one game plan that I have talked about the most against Lopez is sitting on the off speed. But to label that as an adjustment, it's a game plan option. And if this team is comfortable sitting a changeup, it is an option they could take at the plate. If that's not something that this team wants to do, then they've got to find other ways to be successful against an arm that hammers the zone early with off-speed pitches.
The pitch to Tyler Ellison. And Ellison ahead in the count now, 2 balls and no strikes as Brady along with DeLeon coming over to talk, and this is just how seniors do sometimes.
It's crazy to think that Georgia had a 6-run lead at one point during this game, and again, the pendulum has swung back and forth multiple times through 5 innings.
Well, folks, we've got 5 ranked teams highlighting our SEC Network softball triple header Saturday. We start right here with number 20 Ole Miss and Georgia back in action at noon Eastern, and its 4th ranked Oklahoma hosting number 15 Mississippi State. And we cap off the afternoon, number 1 Texas A&M taking on Missouri at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. Well, it's never a bad time to talk about the 4-time defending national champion Oklahoma Sooners, and you said it's wide open, but I'm curious to know your thoughts on what you think gives the Sooners potentially an inside track on potentially repeating for a 5th time.
Yeah. Well, what gives them a leg up is experience. Nobody can replace the reps of playing for a national championship and succeeding 4 years in a row. You just can't, you cannot replace that experience with anything. I'll tell you what I believe is posing a little bit of a challenge for Oklahoma is pitching. They've been hit really hard this season. Last year they ended the season under a sub-2 ERA, and this, up to this point, 2025, they're knocking on the door of a 2.5 ERA. I mean, their arms have been hit hard. The long ball played a major part against their...
Speaking of the long ball, how about Tyler Ellison getting a hold of that one in the light show inside the jack after that 2-run blast. Her 8th home run of the season. And a great swing there from Tyler Ellison. And just like that, Georgia within 3 now.
Par for the course so far for this game. I mean, back and forth, punch after punch. It has been the offenses for both of these squads today where their pitching has come up short. Their offense has had their back. A massive shot from Tyler Ellison. How about the light show?
Yeah.
Epic.
Totally loving the light show. So we've seen a 2-run homer and a solo shot from Georgia. A couple of grand slams from Ole Miss. 4 home runs in total. And you said it, Aaron. The offense has certainly been there for Georgia. And it just pump some life back into it after that blast. Dallas Goodnight at the plate. Goodnight, who had a single off of Lopez back in the third. Lopez keeps that one outside. Now 3 balls and a strike. Goodnight with the opposite field base hit. Sweet piece of hitting there from Dallas Goodnight to get aboard safely. Again, no out has been retired in the inning. We started off with the walk, the 2-run homer from Ellison, and now the single by Dallas Goodnight.
Well, if there's anybody that's going to wreak some havoc on the base paths, it's Goodnight, right? She's going to apply pressure for this Ole Miss defense. I'm looking at my scorecard, and it is just jam-packed.
Yeah.
Jam-packed.
Same. And you know what? In the midst of that, I think I missed a home run from Ole Miss.
I don't blame you.
They've got 3.
There's a lot we got to keep track of here. This is yet another meeting in the circle for Nancy Evans and Ole Miss. Potentially seeing a change here. I mean, Bree Lopez has been money for Ole Miss and stepping in the second inning in relief from Wacheno, but is starting to get challenged here. There's no outs right now for Georgia.
And so this is a prime opportunity. You see Tony Baldwin having a conversation with Jaden Goodwin, who's on deck. And Georgia can answer. They saw a 5 spot in the top half of the inning. Now Lindy Ray Davis standing in at the plate.
There's that off speed again. If she's been one thing, she's been consistent with that pitch. Lexi Brady is ready to pull trigger behind home plate. She is daring Dallas Goodnight to run on that arm.
And Goodnight does decide to take off, and she got her. The big matchup there, and Lexi Brady, who was anticipating, ready for it, and guns down. Goodnight on her way to second.
She was salivating at an opportunity to face off against this speed. This was a clean throw, a clean tag against a set of wheels that has 24 stolen bases. Holy cow.
And so instead of a runner on, now 1 out, Lindy Ray Davis with a 2-2 count.
Wish we could have recorded the pop time.
Yeah. But you know it's coming, right? You know it's coming.
She knew it.
But
she was anticipating it.
But for her to be able to execute too. Good on Brady as she tries to frame it, but Davis goes down to first. So 1 out walk to Lindy Ray Davis.
transfer from glove to hand to throw to tag. I mean, it was picture perfect. These are the plays you practice over and over and over.
Lifted into left field, and Goodwin flies out, and 2 away. Here's Sarah Gordon, first pitch swinging as well. And into the glove of Lopez, and she holds it down.
Together. 8 Mile, that's a classic.
Absolutely, it is. Palms are sweaty. Oh, okay, let's get to the scouting report.
We could go on.
We could. We're having a lot of fun here. And if you're not enjoying what has been a back and forth affair, 23 runs put up between these two teams. It's been bananas. A number of walks, home runs, a lot of things in between.
There's been a lot. There's been a lot to unpack. It has been an offensive display of power. It has been a little frustrating, I think, for both of these teams in the pitching circle. I would anticipate that the post-game discussion, however this game ends for both of these squads, will be lengthy to some degree.
To your point of beautiful and messy, 18 hits,
Yeah.
18 walks.
That tells the story.
23 runs, backhand made, and then in and out of the glove of Esther White. And so we've seen Taylor Malvin, the leadoff hitter for Ole Miss, get aboard safely each time. 3 straight singles, a walker last time up, and now we'll see how they score this one.
That's a catch that needs to be made. Looks like the stride of White at first base was a little bit premature. You always want to take the late leap off the bag to try and cover as much ground as you can. Papa Rando is watching. He said, "I'm watching." He got the reference.
Do you approve? Do you approve, Pops? That's the question. Jaden Pone lays down the sacrifice bunt. And she's thrown out just in time, but does her job advancing Malvin over to second.
Looks like they did award a single to Malvin. I think that play needs to be made at first base. It's a play that can be made.
Agreed. Now Aaliyah Binford. Binford takes a big cut there. Remember, she spent the first 4 years of her career at Baylor. A great success there, and that was one of the things that Jamie Traxel said she enjoyed about bringing her into this program. He says, you know what? I know exactly what I'm going to get. A two-way player who can spin it in the circle, get it done, but also coming in, later into the program and just inserted herself in the right way.
A mid-semester transfer, that's already really hard to do. A lot of change, a lot of moving parts, and hit the ground running here for Ole Miss.
The ground out to second, and now 2 down with Malvin standing at third.
Right now for Ole Miss, it's trying to push some more insurance runs across the board. If there's anything this game has told you, is that enough is never enough.
Yamis, who's had herself an excellent night.
Talked about the discipline at the plate for Percy Yamis. Only 5 strikeouts through now almost 43 games played. For a freshman, that is pretty darn impressive. For anyone, that's impressive, but specifically a freshman.
And Loud out into left field, and that ends the inning. So a 3-run ball game. Georgia's got to come back and get some work done in the circle since entering this ball game back in the second inning in relief for Miley Wancheño.
I will say, just looking at my scorecard here, 5 of the 10 runs for Georgia have been walks. And that tells the story. When we flip over the scorecard, I'll give you that number on the flip side of this inning. But just on the Georgia side, 5 of their walks have come across to score. That's a lot.
It's the theme that we have beaten home, drilled down on all throughout, but it was the concern of both coaches coming in terms of the walks and the free passes. And you said it earlier, it's hard to outscore that or overcome that after a certain point. Both of these teams have done a really good job of putting up runs.
Well, and what's interesting too is that I think both of these head coaches stressed a little bit of heartbreak of some very close games, specifically in game 3s that could have secured a series win, that had there not been an abundance of the free passes or the errors or the detailed miscues, probably would have walked away in the W column. That's frustrating. That can be so frustrating when it's just right there at your fingertips, right in the palm of your hand.
And they walk there to Emily Digby to lead it off here in the bottom of the 6th. 3+ innings pitched, 5 hits given up, 3 earned runs for Brie Lopez, her 5th walk. And 3 strikeouts as well, 88 pitches thrown, and her night is done as Lopez will hand the ball over to her teammate Leah Binford. We mentioned Binford, the two-way player, her ability to also toss it in the circle.
This has been not just an impressive arm, an impressive young woman. Her entire body of work throughout her career, a Baylor transfer that struggled with an ACL surgery 2 years ago as a junior, as a sophomore actually, and what we've seen her do at the plate, a very aggressive, confident woman in the batter's box. She takes a nasty swing, but she also is just as talented in the circle. It's really cool. It's very impressive to see what she can do on both sides of this ball game.
Well, she brings that competitiveness in the circle as well. As you look at the scouting report on Leah Binford, she's going to hang around there in that mid-60 range. Was the D1 softball comeback player of the year a season ago, an all Big 12 selection, and now her talents reside in the SEC.
See a little lip reading there from Nancy Evans saying, do your job. Do your job. Senior, a veteran, a lot of experience in the circle right now for Ole Miss. I would imagine the message here from Nancy Evans and company from a coaching staff standpoint is let's slam the door shut. Late in this ball game, you're in the 6th inning. You got a 3-run lead and you're looking to Binford in the circle to get the job done.
That one stalls out in front of Brady, and so wisely Emily Digby is now standing at second base, so she's in scoring position for Marissa Miller. Miller, the catcher, 0 for 2 today. Aboard safely with a walk back in the second.
And that zone has been tight, and it has been consistently tight. I mean, that's been a pitch. You can see Binford there asking, where is that? Low? Out? Tell me where. Help me out here.
And the walk to Miller. So back-to-back walks to lead things off here in the bottom half of the inning.
The scoring in and of itself is a story to be told. But I will tell you, looking at the timestamp right now, almost a 3-hour ball game since first pitch, and what will kill the pace of a game, it is the walks.
20 in total tonight as Molly Mitchell comes in as the pinch runner for the Bulldogs. She's over at first. Mua Williams at the plate now. And Williams represents the game tying run. And Williams sends this one into left field, deep into the warning track, and Pone is underneath it. She gets Williams out. Remember, Williams had that solo home run back in the second inning. She was vying for another.
Yeah, Binford just trying to figure out where it is. Establish the strike zone for me. She's gone up, she's gone at the knees, she's trying to chip away on the inside corner. Has been unsuccessful.
Binford is trying to figure those things out, not become frustrated, but do her job and try to take care of Esther White and get out of the inning. That one outside, so it's 3 balls and no strikes to White, who's already got a couple of walks. Pitch to White. Back-to-back strikes to draw the count full.
One swing here from White could change this ball game.
The grounder over to second. Pickens throws to first. And the runners now both in scoring position and 2 down.
That rolls over this lineup to Tyler Ellison, who homered back in the 5th. Mentioned the one swing that could shake some things up. Well, we've seen it from Ellison once before.
And again, the home run ball has been such an interesting component here tonight for both teams. The junior out of McDonough with an 0-2 count. And she strikes out. Binford with a fist pump afterward. A couple of runners left on base. And it's Ole Miss taking the lead. Already been in the ball game since last inning.
She got settled in a little bit.
She got settled in,
inning.
yeah.
But to your
My
point,
bad there.
facing a tough bat of Lexi Brady. Brady had that grand slam back in the 5th inning.
That one sharply hit, but foul.
Her swing is so violent. I can't even imagine playing specifically third base against a swinger like Lexi Brady. It's just a little bit dangerous. I would be scared. Her aggressiveness, just the way that she swings and uses that lower body, if she makes contact, it's going to go.
She's one of the hot hitters within the SEC. Lexi Brady can certainly mash, but she's also done a fantastic job behind the plate too. And it's been consistent throughout her career at Ole Miss. The walk to Brady. So Brady will go into the dugout. Pinch hitter for her, Star Ferguson. He's standing at first. Pickens standing in. She's got a single on the night. Couple of walks, scored a run.
I told you I would tally these up. 4 walks that Ole Miss has gathered have come around to score.
A woman of your word.
A woman of my
Appreciate
word.
that, Ann. This one down the first base line, and the play made in foul territory for out number 1.
It's a really, really nice track down there from White at first base. When you know your pitcher in the circle is struggling to handle strikes, finding a way to track down these balls up the foul line is so crucial.
Lansdale, who's had 5 of her 8 RBI on the season here tonight. A big grand slam back in the 3rd. Nearly grabbed by Moore Williams. It goes out of her glove. And they're going to say Ferguson is safe at second. So the hot shot to third base from Williams, nearly grabbed.
Man, yeah, a great effort by Williams. It is just so unfortunate that Ellison comes off of second base. Had she had the foot and stood and held that position on second base, I think they could have got that force out.
Angelina DeLeon. DeLeon looking for her first hit of the night. Valley Springs, California. Has hopes of one day becoming a head coach, and in talking with Jamie Traxel, she says, well, she's very much an extension of me on the field.
That's a huge compliment.
Reliable, dependable player DeLeon has been, but also a great temperament, according to her head coach, to go along with pretty high softball IQ.
DeLeon played a lot of second base last season, now locked in a little bit of time over at third, has grabbed some innings at shortstop as well, has been a multi-tool player for them on the dirt.
Trout now trying to retire DeLeon. 3 balls, 2 strikes, full count. The pitch. And just missing, so the walk awarded to DeLeon.
I don't know where this missed. And that to me looks like it clips at least half the softball on the outer half. I think DeLeon too was almost waiting for that late call. Tough break for Trout.
We've seen all night long pitchers in the circle trying to find that strike zone. It's been pretty tight throughout. Walks have mounted inning after inning. So bases loaded here. Ryan Starr, the 9-hole hitter, looking to drive in a run. Turn over that lineup and get it back to Taylor Malvin. And she's hit by the pitch. So now that ties a season high for runs for Ole Miss. With that one coming across, and Starr Ferguson touching home plate with now 14. They did it against Nichols, and now Jamie Traxel's group again sees 14 runs on the board.
Infield pinched in. They're all playing in front of the base pass.
Malvin slices that one foul.
That's exactly what I would do if I was Malvin, reading what's open right now, and that is that no man's land where the grass meets the dirt. You got your infield pinched in. They're trying to play that force out at home plate. What do? Well, you pop it by him.
And exactly what you said, textbook execution. And another run pushed across, an RBI single there for Taylor Malvin.
This is just elite hitting, is taking what they're giving you. She goes away from the short game, peppers this into that 5-6 hole, snags another RBI. It's a 5-run lead now for Ole Miss.
Jaden Pone with the chopper. Will Williams tries to handle it, it pops out of the glove, and once more, bases remain loaded, but another run pushed across.
We'll wait to see how this one is ruled. This is just a spinner, had some English on it, a lot of movement, and Williams at third base unable to glove that successfully.
We're going to rule it a base hit, so an RBI credited to Jaden Pone, and then the hot shot through the legs of Emily Digby goes all the way to the wall, and a bases clearing double for Aaliyah Binford. Helping her effort out in the circle all the more as things have gotten out of hand here, with 6 runs now allowed by the Bulldogs here in the inning.
It was just a combination of power off the bat there and just reaction time. I mean, Digby not even having enough time to put the glove down on the ground. That's the power, though, of Binford. Man, she is so dangerous. The exit speed of her swing, so impressive.
Bases clearing double. And she goes back into the dugout. Addison Duke now pitch running at second base. And Percy Yamas now at the plate. Went high. If you're Georgia, you want to erase this game from your mind. They've allowed a school record 19 runs here tonight, breaking the previous record of 17. Grounder handled by Tyler Ellison, and 2 away. So we're back to how we started this inning, with Lexi Brady coming back up to the plate. She led off the inning with a walk. So a couple times we have seen both teams bat around in the order, specifically Ole Miss.
Sixth at-bat for Lexi Brady. It does not happen often. Gets 6 opportunities at the plate.
And this one's got some more time and more legs on it. 3+ hours now for the opening game of this 3-game series between Ole Miss and Georgia, and the runs keep on coming. Lexi Brady with her 42nd RBI of the season.
Right now, if you're Georgia, you are begging for a way to stop the bleeding here, trying to get out of this inning.
Tinley Grisham over at first base as the pinch runner. And you have to also think you've got to maybe ride this out with Ella Trout, given the fact that we started this game with Randy Rolling, and then Destin Howard came in relief along with Rachel Gibson. So Trout gets the little roller over to shortstop. Pickens is retired. 2-3-4 due up with Dallas Goodnight leading it off. Right back at you to the pitcher in the circle, and what a throw from Binford. She guns it over to first.
She is such an athlete. It's a hot shot back to her. She's able to protect herself with that quick glove work. You know, this takes her down to her knees, and she has such a cannon to throw a strike to Yamas at first base against the speed of Goodnight on top of that.
The lefty Lindy Ray Davis commits on first pitch from Binford. Davis, an RBI single, couple of walks. Run scored here tonight. And looking ahead for Georgia, you've utilized 4 of the 5 arms that you have available or used this season. And so the anticipation is that we would see, or expectation rather, is that we probably see Lily Backus tomorrow. But how long will she stay in the game? And who would you kind of recycle and use again if you're Tony Baldwin?
That is the million-dollar question. And I believe reflects a little bit of the frustration that he expressed to us coming into this weekend, is that this team, this pitching staff, has struggled to work as a unit. We have struggled to keep the ball in the strike zone. It hasn't been exclusive to one arm, Tiff. It's all 4 of them.
Good nab there by Pickens, and 2 away.
And same thing on the Ole Miss side. I mean, we saw that from Wachino that led off this game. Bree Lopez, who had a couple of pretty solid innings, but also struggled to keep the ball in the strike zone. Binford steps in. First batter she faces, she walks. And right now appears to have a pretty solid 7th inning.
And first pitch swing in this one into the opposite field, and the home run over left field wall for Jaden Goodwin.
This was a no-doubter. Opposite field. You know, Goodwin is not tall in stature, but she packs a punch at the plate. Quick, compact swing, solid contact at the plate.
Now it's Sarah Gordon. And if you are taking positives and little things that you want to store away, for Jaden Goodwin, you want to feel like, okay, there were some things that I did well there. Had success on that home run swing. And build off of all the little wins here tonight. Binford with 1 out to go. The pitch to Sarah Gordon, and Gordon keeps this game going deep into the 5-6 hole. And the 2-out base hit. So what's seemingly insurmountable with this 9-run deficit, Georgia saying, we still got fight. We got more work to do.
Well, it has tracked all season long. This team really does go as Goodwin, Goodnight, and Gordon, the triple G's go, right? I mean, when they bring their best to the plate, this offense does some damage.
triple G's.
Fitting for Georgia, right? With that big G.
Yeah, for sure. The pitch to Emily Digby. Holds off. What's been fun about this game is kind of like the Energizer Bunny, you know?
It just keeps
Going, you know?
You don't see, at least we don't see a lot of games with a 20-11 score.
And caught looking to end the ball game, and that does it. A resounding win in game 1 for Ole Miss, their largest comeback under Jamie Traxel. That 6-run deficit they erased, and they were able to hang a 7 spot in the top half of the 7th. Jamie Traxel said, hey, I want to see our team play well on the road, and this is definitely a good start for her group.
Buckle up, folks. I think this is going to be a long weekend for both of these teams. If it has any reflection of what we saw in game 1, this is going to be